Welcome to the Hoop Threads podcast here with our high school coaches kind of section of the high school scholastic live period conversation, talking about some things that these coaches think are pertinent and important for players and their families to know before heading into this session. So we have three very successful high school coaches on the pod. Would love them to introduce themselves, starting with the vet. Coach Turner, take it away.
Coach Turner, Gonzaga College High School, going into my 20th, or should I say 21st season as a head coach and 26th season at Gonzaga High School.
Devin?
Devin Williams, St. John's Catholic Prep, going into my fourth season as the head coach out in Buckystown.
Drake?
Andre Hunter, going into my third season at St. Stephen St. Agnes as the head.
Wow. Sir, please don't crash while we're on this podcast.
I'm in park right now.
I was gonna say,
I was thinking the same thing.
Make sure we got that 10 and 2, man. I don't know if you got that. All right, man. So let's get it started off. As a high school head coach heading into the live period, what are your priorities? Let's start with Coach Turner.
Again, being able to use this weekend as a platform to give our kids opportunities to play in front of college coaches. At the end of the day, the kids who play for us, their dreams and aspirations are to be able to go and play college basketball. And for me, it's to give them an opportunity to hopefully let that little orange or brown pill take them to a place where their parents don't have to pay for college. So it's an opportunity for exposure. It's an opportunity for them to grow. And this time of the year, we get all their hands on them a little bit from their time with AAU. So it's our time, as I like to say, it's the start of our season as we start prepping for the November and December.
What's Devin?
I think the start of the year comes, quicker and quicker every year, it seems, for us. So I think, this is a good springboard for these young men to really hone in on what it is to be, with their high school team, obviously playing in front of college coaches, as everyone has that dream to have those right set of eyes catch their game. So I think, the importance, for us is just making sure that these guys come in ready to go. Obviously, the growth aspect is something that we all want as coaches, as a team. So I just think the biggest thing for us right now is just making sure that these guys are coming in with the right head and the right attitude.
Coach Andre?
Yeah, I think it's the same. For us, I try to focus on what the actual point of the live period is, right? It's for our guys to get looks from college coaches, for them to show what they can do. It's an opportunity for them, really, right? I know some guys were focused on winning and losing, right? For us, it's just really focusing on being our best at all times, right? Trying to win every possession, trying to play as hard as we possibly can, trying to impact the game, really showing coaches, like, outside of a skill set, like, I can really help your team win. And that's kind of what we use the live period for, to get their recognition that they need. They've been putting in work all summer. This is kind of like their time to show all that work that they've been putting in. And as one weekend, 3-4 games, all the coaches you possibly want is right there. So, we kind of look forward to just using it as a platform for our guys to propel themselves to the next level.
Can I follow something on that?
Sure.
I would say the other piece to that is our kids play with different AAU programs. And so their roles on some of those teams are different than the roles that they have playing for us. So it's also another opportunity for them where they've already been seen thus far with their AAU team, to allow some of these colleges who've seen them already and maybe want to see more from them, to see them in a different light and a different role as they play with their high school team.
Just out of curiosity, just in one sentence, how important is winning versus seeing what you have going into the season and your kids getting exposure during this live period, if that makes sense?
I think
I personally go ahead.
I think it kind of ties in for me, because a little bit of everything, if you're winning, now we're selling young men that can impact winning, you know what I mean? But, for us, it's not about that piece, but it also goes into play of what it is.
Yeah, I agree with that as well, right? That's not the focus going in is, oh, we got to win every game, because you change how you coach if that's the focus, right? I really try to focus on doing all the right things the right way, and I think that outcome equals a win, right? Or at least a game you should have won or could have won, where you can make some corrections. So just trying to play basketball the right way, it leads to wins, right? And not really focus on winning or losing, but just doing it the right way.
I'm gonna say it's a slippery slope because the outside influences create sometimes an environment that is all just about the winning. And so, I'm never gonna coach to those outside influences, but I can only imagine that for some, if you're not winning now, you got people in the stands who are questioning your team when they don't realize that the number one focus should only be that we're trying to help kids get scholarships and be in a platform to be seen. But then there's times where you have people who sit in those stands on the other side, as I like to call them, the Sunday quarterbacks, and their expectations are that y'all are winning. And right now, there's not a win or a loss that's going to change what can happen for us in the fall if we're doing all the right things to prepare for that. And then more importantly, I'm trying to do the right thing to help your son make sure you don't have to pay for college.
Gotcha. Appreciate that. If you had a son playing in this event, what would your conversation look like in the car ride on the way to the event? Any of y'all can take this.
I guess I'll take it first, since I'm the only one on this screen that's had that happen.
I got it happening now.
That's true. I take that back. I'm sorry. I forgot. But so he's got it coming up. I've done it and lived it. That conversation was just keep being the best version of who you are. Don't go out here trying to do things that you don't do. Let what makes you special shine in front of these coaches, and hopefully there'll be some guys who fall in love with you. But don't go out here trying to do stuff that you don't do. And that's the message I would have to any of my sons, and that's all the kids that play for me. That's how I look at those guys in part of my family. Let's go out this weekend. It's not about the things that you're in the gym trying to prepare for to get yourself better, or that you believe you got to do to for them to see that you can do this at their level. The way you're going to shine is being the best version of who you are today. So play that way, and that's how you go out there and give your best effort so that people can see who you are and what you can become.
Appreciate that.
No, that's spot on. That's the conversation that I'm having now with my guys, just making sure that you're continuing to be the best version of yourself. And, everything that you put in, all the work that you put in will shine through. These guys are here for a reason. They're professionals. They're college coaches for a reason. They're going to be able to see through it all. So just make sure that whenever you're on the court, you're giving everything you got, and you're making sure that you're showing yourself and your family in a positive light. Making sure you're understanding what it is to be on this stage and try to impact winning as much as possible. Yeah, I totally agree.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, identical, right? The same message. I would tell my kid. He's younger, a lot younger, not at high stakes, but he's playing basketball now, and it's the same thing, right? Just go out there and do the best you possibly can. Try to your best every possession. Just know that that one possession that you think might not be worth it might be the one that when they lose the game, right? So just try to be who you are the entire time, good or bad. Just keep playing, right? Like eventually, who you really are will supersede any failure you had, any bad shot, any turnover. If you continue just to play basketball and play hard, it's just keep going. This is a move forward mentality.
Aaron, I think the other piece to that is a lot of these guys at this point aren't just evaluating these kids' games. They're really evaluating their character. They're also evaluating families so that they can truly decide whether or not they want to make a decision on giving out offers, because they want to make sure that this family, it's not just a kid, can the family be a part of our family and be the way that we want them to be characteristic, character-wise. So we're always talking to our guys about making sure you got good body language, and we have conversations with the parents. Don't show yourself out, because there could be a college coach that loves your kid and then doesn't love you, and that changes everything for your kid.
That also goes into that due diligence piece that we were talking about.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. I thought it was really cool earlier when I was speaking with the college coaches, kind of talking about the same stuff. Coach Bird from George Mason was like, "Man, if you're talking crazy on your high school coach, I'm good," because that pattern of behavior is likely going to continue at George Mason, and we don't want that. We don't want any part of that. Whether he's right, whether he's wrong, that's not a good indicator of this being a good fit, which I thought was a really good answer. So leading into that, Coach Williams kind of alluded to it. What do you wish college coaches would do differently when it comes to doing their due diligence in recruiting, kind of intel, background, stuff like that?
I think one of the biggest things for me is just be honest. I think when we're recruiting on the opposite end, my biggest thing to the families is like you're gonna always know where you stand with me, and I should always know where I stand with you. Just be honest with the recruiting process. You got something? Oh, yeah. Just be honest with the recruiting process. If a kid's not for you, then the kid's not for you. But at the end of the day, like we just need to make sure that you're continuing to be communicative, because if the one thing that we can't get back in this life is time. You know what I mean? And when it comes to recruiting these kids and trying to put them in positions to be successful, time is what we can't get back. So if I'm spinning my wheels in this direction and we know it's not going anywhere, it doesn't make sense for us to keep going just because we want to save face, or we want to do it the right way, so to speak. So just be honest is one of my biggest things that I would love for them to change.
Coach Dre, Coach Turner.
For me, I think it would be if I could tell a college with the change. I mean, I think it would be like really trust yourself, right? I get a feel a lot of times that college coaches don't trust themselves for whatever reason, right? Because they don't know if they getting the right kid for their boss or whatever the case may be. I think it's a lot of let me wait and see if someone else thinks he's good, right? Like I think they lack right now the ability just to trust their vision, their decision of recruiting a kid. I see it a lot, right? Not with my kids and with other kids, where it's, oh, we're gonna wait to see who else offer them, and then soon as one school in the conference offer them, you get 6-7 calls the same week, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like the kid didn't get that much better over a course of a week, right? Like trust yourself, like, and I think that leads into kids as well. I believe, like you can sense when you're playing for a guy or you're around a guy that don't trust what he's saying or trust his opinion or he's not really sure of himself, right? Like I'd rather you come in and tell me straight up, hey, you sorry. Well, cool. At least I know you're standing on what you really believe, right? I think like they waver a lot, and NIL plays a lot, right? Like you got these kids making money going to school, those type of things where now you got to talk to them a little differently and coach them a little differently. But I think if they just trust themselves more and what they see and what they believe and not necessarily worry about how many stars the kid got or what AAU team he plays on, like really, if you see the kid can play, it don't matter if he's not on the main AAU team, he can play. And just believe that and trust it and go with it. I think a lot of kids that don't get opportunities or fall down late, and I'm speaking from experience, right? Like St. Stephen's is one of those schools where we get really, really good kids, right? But it's always the late draws, the late fall, for whatever reason, right? The conference we're in, the teams we play, whatever the case may be. But they're still high-level Division I players. I think if coaches trust themselves, I think, one, the portal wouldn't be as heavy. And I think, like we wouldn't have a lot of these seniors playing in these early on summer tournaments because for the most part, like most of these kids are good kids. They're not superstars, but they can fit a role on your team. Find that guy, build a team. Stop chasing 4, 5, 6 5-stars that are going to leave in a year that's creating this environment that is not really built for college basketball.
Well, I also think
that what he's saying, really. So
he's
really saying grow up there, and that's what it is. What'd you saying, Coach?
Yeah, in a sense.
But it always starts with, well, who's recruiting them?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the first question I get with every coach, right? And no disrespect to any of them, but it's always, yeah, how's he going? How's his recruitment? Do you want him or not? Like, that's the only question. But they worry more about how it looks on the outside, who else is recruiting it. Like, I get it. I understand. It just drives me nuts.
Coach Turner, looks like you got something to say there.
I do. Two different things. As I said to y'all a little bit offline before we started, communication and transparency. Like, you can like who you like or love who you love. You don't have to like my guy, but just be honest with me. Because if you're not honest with me, then I don't want you to come back through my doors. And I'm not going to make you like a guy. I'm going to try to tell you who I believe has the opportunity to play at your level. Could be a good fit based on the players I've seen you have in the past. But you don't have to like them, and you don't have to fake that you like them just because you feel like that's going to make me happy. Your job isn't as a coach to make me happy. It's to say, hey, do I really love one of your kids or not? And if I do, I'll recruit them. And if not, hopefully you'll come back and look at the next guy. That's all I would want. I said, but I'll say the second thing is this. I need these college assistants to stop fighting in-house. And what I mean by that is stop fighting for the love of your head coach because you're trying to propel yourself to what's the next level. Because what happens is one assistant likes my guy, another guy assistant likes Dre's guy, and because they're trying to move up the ladder or win the heart of their coach, they end up fighting against each other. And now one kid gets screwed or both kids get screwed. And so for me, it's like, if you're fighting for your coach and your program, y'all should be in tune and working together. Like, as simple as this. I send out an email at least twice a year, in the preseason when we're in the fall, and in the spring when we're after our season, around the time when these coaches can come in our gym and see our kids. I give a descriptive of our players. I give dates and times of when we're going. And I'll have coaches from the same school call me because they're not the coach on my email list. And I'm wondering why aren't y'all sharing this information if you're one staff? That makes no sense to me. So that means somebody's hoarding it because they want to have the one up on their partner, who they should be working with together to help win in their program. If their programs win, they all gonna get propelled. But you see them fighting against each other, and I think it ends up hurting some of the kids.
No, that's valid. Anything else on that? All right, so the next one, if you could change one thing about the high school Scholastic Live period, what would you change?
NCAA, and I'm speaking to you because you're the ones that can change this. We in the DMV have teams who are separated by DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. There's a problem that we aren't all playing together instead of having 4 different scholastic events in a 10 to 15 mile radius. That's crazy. Oh, 5. I'm sorry.
5.
You're right. 5. Why haven't you guys figured out how to let us all be together when we're already together as leagues and conferences? I've been on calls. I've heard that we were going to have these changes for the last 3 years, and nothing has come of it. I think you guys need to sit down with the coaches in our area to understand that we could have a better one big event if we were all playing together. And it'd be a lot easier for these college coaches for one-stop shopping and not having to kill their budgets paying for books at 5 different events in one area. That's what I would change.
I agree.
Definitely agree.
I agree.
All right, anything else on that one, Coach Williams, Coach Hunter?
I mean, I think live period has been pretty good. I think any and everything could be better, right? But overall, I think live period has been pretty good. I think it's not too long, but long enough, right? You don't want to draw it out too much. Maybe 1 week would be bad. We go to Coach Turner's. Everybody can play, right? You go to a bigger venue, you can do it, stretch the days out, right? Things like that where everyone get an opportunity to play. But overall, I think live period has been a great change for guys, leaving the AAU, come back to high school, getting ready to play. Like I think Coach Turner mentioned earlier, you get to see a lot of different personalities when you go back and forth that way, right? AAU, they're different than they are in high school, different roles, different responsibilities. So it's been good to kind of show, like, hey, he does this over here, but hey, this is what he also can do. Kind of leveraging that with coaches. So it's been pretty good.
No, I think the live period has been a great addition. The way it's been mapped out, because we haven't seen our high school kids since the end of the season. They get away from us a little bit. They get back with their AAU. We start workouts, which seems like almost immediately. I think if you change it in any way, you're running up against AAU again on the back end. But yeah, no, I think it's been great. I think it's been a great addition.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it's cool to I think Coach Turner touched on it earlier, seeing them in different contexts and seeing, a player that's a point guard with one team and a shooter on one team, and see a player that's, in more freestyles, just let's move the ball, let's not run sets versus, all right, let's get into something in the half court and make the right read. I think that's important as a college coach. And I think the ones that do their homework are able to collect those names during the AAU season and during the previous high school season, and then see, all right, let's see how this comes together during high school season under different coaching, different environment, different rules. Because we all know, playing styles are a bit different with, summer grassroots basketball sometimes than it is during the high school season. Accountability might be a bit different, as well as, honestly, to be fair to the AAU coaches, they don't have a ton of time with our guys.
No,
No, not at all. No,
Aaron, I've said it all along. I hate when I hear that, well, the AAU guy's not developing you. No, I think AAU gives a platform. They don't get enough gym time. I mean, some of these coaches don't even practice. They just get kids and go play in tournaments. And
which is crazy.
One practice. Some of the best organizations, they're only practicing with their kids twice a week. So in that time, it's not enough time to totally develop your child, but they do a very good job of giving your kid an unbelievable platform to perform. So I don't blame the AAU guys at all. I see the struggles that they have because it's not enough gyms. I mean, shoot, how can we give them the gym time when we're trying to do things within our own programs and they're trying to get our gym to have their practices? So it's tough. I mean,
and nobody wants to come to Buckystown, so.
But, because what they do is tough. I mean, they're having to find places quick and fast, and if they can make it happen. But at the end of the day, the places that your kids are getting an opportunity to be seen by playing on those teams, you can't pass that up.
I mean, honestly, you're getting the best of both worlds when it comes to it. When there's an organization that's giving you the platform to be successful, but then you still have the high school that you're getting the workouts in. We're trying to get better every day. So I think if you're in a situation where you have that, you're king because you got the best of both worlds in that scenario.
Facts. All right, guys, really appreciate the time. Last question. What is your advice to parents and members of a player's circle heading into this event?
I'm gonna let you go first.
Advice to parent. I would say, and I think somebody mentioned it earlier. I think it was Coach Turner. Just watch the game. Like, really just sit down and watch the game. Like, that's why you're there. You paid to watch. You didn't pay to give your advice. You didn't pay to give your comments. And what I tell my parents is leave my players alone for 24 hours, right? After a game, don't mention basketball to them at all. They don't want to hear it. They don't need to hear it. They don't need your advice of what you think, especially if you're not in practice with us every day. I would just tell them, just trust who they have their kid with, right? And trust their kid's going to do their best and enjoy it. Don't stress yourself out worrying about your kid doing this. It's up to your kid. It's 1,000% up to your kid. And if you trust who he's with, he's going to be fine. Just enjoy the environment and leave the negative and the extra comments that come after the game out of. Just leave it out. Leave it out all completely, because every coach has been working to go in to live period with some kind of game plan based on the new kids coming in, the old kids returning, the new kids moving up, like everyone's going in with a mindset of this is how we're going to do things. And it may not be what the parents are used to, what they've seen or what they understand. So I would just tell them, just trust who your kid is with and stay out of it.
Respect the process.
That's it.
Like, respect the process, because it is a process. I think the problem that we have right now, and it's funny because it makes it so tough for the high school coaches. I don't think it makes that tough on the AAU coaches. But what makes it tough on the high school coaches, we are living in a generational gap where the parents want it for their kids today. They're not willing to allow their kids to go through, hit adversity, get a bump on the road, get knocked down, figure out how to get back up and fight for what you want. And everyone feels like because of social media and Johnny and Billy on my team are getting these offers and my kid's not. I've seen too many of the guys who started in last finish first. I've done this for a long time. And if your kid's that good and he's good enough, he's going to get it. But it has to be in his time, not on your time, not in the time that you think because Billy's getting it, that he should get it. You got to allow your sons, and I'm speaking to the boys because that's what I coach. So, but this can apply to the ladies too. But I see it more difficult with the young men. Let your son's time be his time. And you've put your child in somebody's hands that in the beginning you say you trusted, then see it through. Now, if you feel like he's just getting blatantly disrespected and not taken care of, then yeah, you might have to make some moves. But if you're not giving some stuff an opportunity or a chance to work or work with the person that you said you trusted and go sit down with him, have conversations of maybe things that you're concerned with before jumping ship, it's not going to work for you. Because these coaches are also now evaluating your character, your child's character, and the timing is different. You got to remember, we were seeing freshmen get offers like right now. You ain't seeing that anymore. And some of your guys who are seniors, who are top 100 players, are struggling going through the process right now because the colleges are going to be in the portal before they deal with your high school students, unless you're the 1%er. Cooper Flagg, AJ, Torrance Stokes. Those guys are going to have all the choices they want. Unless you're sitting like them in the 1%, you got to understand how this process works. And the person that you need to work with is your high school coach and your AAU coaches who can explain these things to you better than anybody.
I totally agree. It's about the educational part, for the parents. I think an educated parent is an ally. But the biggest thing is, like you said, these college coaches are recruiting these families, and they'll be the main ones in the stands this weekend, carrying on, doing things outside of their character or in their character. I think one of the biggest things is they just got to relax, focus on what this weekend is, and keep the main thing the main thing.
Coach Dre?
And keep your business to yourself. Everybody don't need to know your business. Because I watch Misery Love Company a lot. And sometimes people are making bad decisions because somebody else is having a bad way and they suck you in. So be careful. Be careful who your circle is for your child, because that's important too.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Hunter?
Yeah, they touched on everything. I think it's all valid. I think the biggest thing is like Coach Turner said, the process, right? Everybody's turn is gonna be different. Everyone's time is gonna be different. Everyone's gonna be loved a little different. And when you, like you said, when your time comes, it's your time, right? Don't compare this kid to that kid. He got this offer. We used to play together. They might like him for something completely different, right? You have no idea why they offered him or why they really like him. Maybe something your kid not even have the ability to do. So just understand that just because they're the same size and may play the same position, don't mean they're gonna get the same love or the same offers, right? Just keep working and knowing that what's for you will be for you. And if you keep that mindset and look forward, and you'll be fine. You start chasing what somebody else got, you end up with nothing.
Right. Dre said the key word: comparison. The biggest thief of joy. Don't compare your kid to nobody else. Let him run his own race.
So these are the things that stand out about parents to me. I kind of synthesized into three things. The parents that stand out to me cheer just as loud in person and on social media for their son's teammates than they do for their son.
Mm-hmm.
The parents that stand out to me coach effort and attitude and that's it from the stands. Like, I'm not a father right now, but I know that when I do have a child one day, that is the only thing that I'm ever going to coach from my kid. Everything else, X's and O's, how he's used, if he's hitting shots, encouraging him is fine. But like, we've spoken about it with the high school coaches here and then on the college coach pod earlier. You're being evaluated, whether or not you know it, whether or not you like it, whether or not you care about it. And I'm telling you right now, there's been multiple college coaches that told me, listen, man, I like him, the dad. Like, if your goal as a parent is, and this is my last one, your goal as a parent is for college coaches not to know who your kid is. Like, if they could pick you out from the stands based off of the performance on the court, you might be in trouble. You would much rather have the high school coach point out, oh, that's his dad over there. Because I've observed in this area, obviously the DMV is at a higher level. We have NBA players that have kids, NFL players, sports personalities, college coaches. Dwayne Simpkins, I always use this example. Dwayne Simpkins' son played, for me on the freshman team at DeMatha. Dwayne never said a single thing to his son, never said anything to us coaching on the sidelines. He did say some shit to the refs. There was a couple freshman refs that he gave a little bit of an earful to. But I did notice that the NBA players, they don't say stuff to their sons during the game. They let the coaches coach. And if
sure
that,
about that?
Uh-oh.
some of them,
You sure
yeah,
about that?
that's fair. That's fair. Some of them, but I think that unless you've played in those shoes and gotten to that high level, I don't think that you have more experience to speak on than the coach that's coaching him. And regardless, I'll tell a story real quick too about when I was at DeMatha with Coach Jones. He was talking about a player that he was really worried about the car rides home with this player with his father. He's like, listen, man, I want to find someone to give him a ride home because like that's the concern. And he said, listen, man, he had to sit down and have a conversation with the parent. Said, you sent your son to DeMatha to play for me. Now trust me to get him to where he needs to go. Like, I didn't send him to DeMatha. I didn't trust me with DeMatha. I didn't trust me with your son. You sent your son to me, the kid that you've raised now for, 14, 15 years. Trust me. Let me do what I do. So I think that those are my thoughts. Those was a little long-winded, but really appreciate the time. If you guys have anything else that you need to say, I'll let you have the floor real quick before we get out of here.
Aaron, I'll just say thank you for doing what you do, and thank you for having a platform that allows kids to be seen or get noted and get noticed. That you put stuff out for to help the best of of these young men to be able to be seen by these coaches and be heard, maybe when they don't really have a voice. So just keep doing what you're doing.
No, I agree with that totally. I think, we always talk about a platform. I think, what you're doing is amazing because you're giving these kids that platform to not only showcase their talents, but, with everything the way it's going with social media, I think it's key to have, guys like yourself just putting it out there for these kids because, coaches need as much help as they can with the due diligence piece. So I appreciate everything that you
Sure.
Yeah, it's the same over here, man. You've been doing a good job at it. I've been the first of guys in that area that had something like that, right? And what I look at more is, I catch all your casts, all your pods, check it all out. But just as it's more of a platform for coaches to get to know the kids as well, right? Like, and I'm not gonna throw names out there, but watching some of the kids that are on there, I'm just like, no one would ever know this about this kid if he didn't have this opportunity to talk about it, right? And it'd be great things about the kid that could potentially make a coach really like him even more. So I think that's been great, man. Just keep it up. Anything you need from us, we're here.
Yes, sir.
Aaron, I think the other piece for me is that you don't just write about the guys that everybody knows. Like, that's simple. There's a lot of guys that work in your lane, and I watch them, and I've known them for years. Like, they write about the same guy over and over and over, and everybody already knows him. There's a lot of young men out here, and And Dre alluded to it earlier. It's like certain kids play in certain leagues, maybe don't get the same notoriety because they don't play in a certain league. You do a really good job of being able to give a voice for those who don't have a voice at times. So of all the things I think you do, that I appreciate you the most for that.
Yes, sir. Appreciate the time, coaches. Look forward to watching your teams play this weekend, and best of luck.
Fix them rankings. No, I'm just messing with you. Messing with you.
All right, y'all. I'll see y'all
Man,
soon.
appreciate you,
guys.
AP.
All right, fellas.